Alright, the Simpsons Game. The Simpsons have been in a lot of games for a lot of platforms. The games have been consistently terrible, with very few exceptions. What's worse is, I own most of these games.
Mr. Groening, how could you have betrayed us, the fruits of your creative loins, and sold us out to all these awful video games where we endlessly die and lose health and jump and jump and jump?
Personally, I think Simpsons Hit and Run is the best game they've ever made, but most people point to the Simpsons arcade game as their favorite. This game wants to take the mantle from them by calling it the Simpsons Game. There isn't any bullshit subtitles or focusing on one character like Bart vs. the World. So when EA decided to call it the Simpsons Game, you knew it was going to be the definitive game for them. And I have to admit, it takes balls to say this is the Simpsons Game. Like all others before it were crap, and this is the game you want to judge the series on. The game is about the Simpsons, who get embroiled in one crazy plot after another. Okay, that's the plot to every episode of the TV show. How about this? Bart finds the instruction manual for this game and learns he has special powers.
The Simpsons Game. This is so weird. The only Simpsons game I can think of is the one where we all pretend Dad isn't an alcoholic.
He then informs the family, who decides to use their powers for good. But like most people with powers, they decide what good is. Personally, I thought they acted more like terrorists than superheroes. Bart and Homer decide to destroy a museum, Lisa blows up a logging facility, and Marge gets a mob together to destroy the town to stop the release of a violent video game. Unfortunately for the morally challenged family, an alien invasion ruins their destructive fun, and they decide to do the right thing and stop it. The graphics were fine for a Wii game. They were cel-shaded, and they tried to make you feel like you were in the cartoon. Luckily for us, they only use the in-game engine once in a while to advance the story. Most of the time they use cutscenes that looked great.
Oh my god! It's a nerd! That's right, the nerdiest nerd in the computerverse.
Dad, that's Will Wright.
We must study him.
Study him with anal probing?
Of course with anal probing. What else would we do? Talk to him?
Hey, Bart, in these video games, levels get easier as you go along, right? Right?
That's right, Dad. They sure do. Let's go.
The controls for this game are awkward since you could tell it was made for a PlayStation 2 and they somehow mapped it to the Wiimote. To punch and kick you use the B button, and it can get really tiring hitting it over and over again. It's not natural and it really sucks. You use the A button to jump and hit it again to do a double jump. The basic controls were all the same for all the characters.
Thanks for helping us save our 8-bit selves. I had to do so many double jumps, I'm really tired.
All the characters have their own special powers. Homer can turn into a fat ball, Marge can control mobs of random people, Bart can float on his cape and use a grappling hook, and Lisa can use her, Buddha powers. Is that really the best they can come up for Lisa? I seem to remember in the TV series, Buddhists have the power to fly.
Our video game powers aren't strong enough. We need upgrades, and fast.
Well, I've anticipated this problem, and I've done what every video game player who doesn't have time to figure out things for himself does.
You cheated.
Exactly. Behold, the strategy guide.
Later in the game, they can upgrade their special powers, but Lisa is the one I find most interesting. She can have her Buddha powers kill a bunch of people with lightning. Once in a while, you have to do pinpoint jumps, but the character's actions won't respond in the correct way. This is really obvious in the first level and in the boss battle way later. You can switch between the two characters at almost any time using the C button. And if you have two emotes and two nunchucks, you can control one of each of the characters. There are enemies in the game. They range from easy to very easy. This is mainly because your health bar will refill when not being attacked. And if one of your characters dies, they'll come back as long as you don't die within a few seconds. It's not as simple as you might think to die in this game for good.
How many lives did it take you to get these cards? Lives? What do you mean?
I mean, I died a lot, and I mean a lot, but it's not like I have limited number of lives. Infinite lives? Then how is the game even hard? What's the point if you can just play forever?
The worst enemy in the game was the camera. It was really bad, and it almost ruins the entire game. I like the level's different designs. You are always doing something different in every mission, whether it be an eating contest or going to land like EverQuest, or even being inside a video game. It was always fun. In every level, there were hidden objects to find, as well as video game cliches pointed out to you by Comic Book Guy. The strange part about this was it wasn't voiced. You have to read it, and it took all the humor out of it. Besides, the joke was funnier the first time I saw it on Simpsons Hit and Run. The whole voice cast is here, and they do an excellent job as usual.
Yeah, I've had a great time today, kids. I almost never appear this much in the series.
Huh?
Of events that constitute your lives.
I'm sorry, sir. You want me to have some goons rough up Al Gore?
I'd like that.
There are Wii exclusive minigames, like Bite Night, where you have to out-eat another contestant. I thought they were boring, and I tended to skip them whenever they came around. While the game can be fun in parts, is it worth buying? Well, that's a hard question to answer. I can tell you I almost gave up on the game after the first few levels due to its poor controls and camera. But if you stick with it, you will find a genuinely funny game with some decent gameplay. Unless you're a hardcore Simpsons fan who owns every video game they make, the game is definitely worth a rent, but not a buy.